Fire department, quick, arch. Honor guard, halt.
All right, advance, right, turn. Right, stand at! East!
Honor guard, order, colors.
Black party, take post.
Stand at ease.
Parade, stand easy. Left. Veterans, if you'd like to have a seat. Veterans, if you'd like to have a seat, go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Evan Reed, CD. I am the Manager of Election, Registration, and Protocol Services for the City of Vaughan. Before we begin today's service, please listen to the City of Vaughan's land acknowledgement and public service announcement.
We respectfully acknowledge that the City of Vaughan is situated in the territory and Treaty 13 lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. We also recognize the traditional territory of the Huron-Wendat and the Haudenosaunee. The City of Vaughan is currently home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people today. As representatives of the people of the City of Vaughan, we are grateful to have the opportunity to work and live in this territory. Please note, we request that all in attendance behave in a respectful manner. Any disruptive behavior will not be tolerated. Thank you for joining us today.
Every year, at the 11th hour on the 11th day of the 11th month, we come together to honor the brave Canadians who served in times of war, conflict, and peace. Today, we pay tribute to those who risked and in many cases gave their lives so that future generations could live in freedom. I now invite Robert Tanko to lead us in the singing of the national anthem. Please remain standing for the last post, the silence, and the revs.
Parade, parade, attention!
Honor guard, carry, colors.
Oh,
Present
Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
I now invite Padre Mark Stacy to say the act of remembrance.
Parade, standards! Es!
Honor guard. Order. Color. Stand at ease.
They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Please join me in welcoming Sergeant Gia Bandari from 283 Air Cadet Squadron for reading of In Flanders Fields.
Bridget. Something's coming up.
In Flanders fields the poppies blow. Between the crosses row and row. The marker plays, and in the sky, the lark still bravely singing fly. Scares heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow. Loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from falling hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high, if ye break faith with us who die. We shall not sleep through poppies grow in Flanders fields.
Thank you. I now invite Padre Mark Stacy to deliver the Litany of Remembrance.
Loving God, today we remember all those who served in our armed forces to preserve the freedoms that you have granted, to make it impossible for those who would take away our freedoms from prevailing. On each of these people, we ask your blessing. For the 628,736 Canadians who served in World War I, for the 66,573 men and women who died, the 138,166 who were wounded, and for the 2,818 taken prisoner of war, we ask your blessing. for the 1,031,902 Canadian men and the 49,963 Canadian women who served in World War II, for the 44,927 who died, the 53,145 wounded, and for the 8,271 taken prisoner of war, we ask your blessing. For the 26,791 Canadians who served in the Canadian Army Special Force during the Korean War, and for the 516 who died, we ask your blessing. For the over 40,000 Canadians who served in Afghanistan, for the 159 who died, and for the 2,047 who were injured, we ask your blessing. For those who served in the peacekeeping forces for the United Nations as Canadian representatives, we ask your blessing. For the family members who made great sacrifices in order to make it possible for their service members to be on watch in Europe, Africa, the Pacific, and the Middle East, we ask your blessing. For the families of those who gave their lives to stand in harm's way, we ask your blessing. For those currently in service abroad, that they may be kept safe and return safely home, we ask your blessing. Jesus tells us there's no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends. For those veterans who have been willing to lay down their lives for us, we ask your blessing. Keep all our veterans in your care this day. Grant them the peace they sought to preserve for others. As we remember our veterans, we also pray for peace. Teach all people the ways of freedom and peace. We ask this in the living God. Amen.
We will now proceed with the laying of the wreaths. Please remain in silent reflection as I call each individual forward one by one to lay their wreath.
Right, stand easy.
Michael Guglielmin, MP for Vaughan Woodbridge, and Melissa Lanceman, MP for Thornhill, on behalf of Canada. The Honourable Michael A. Tibolo, MPP for Vaughan Woodbridge, Province of Ontario. Warrant Officer Wally Mohammed, CD, Veterans Affairs, Canada. Warrant Officer Wally Mohammed, CD, Korean War veteran. Warrant Officer Wally Mohammed, CD, and Constable Mark Levanti, veterans of Afghanistan. Major Shaw, CD, and Trooper Wright, 32 Canadian Brigade Group. Sergeant Peter Ferguson, CD, RCMP. Captain Peter Ferguson, CD, Cadet Warrant Officer, Second Class, 283 Woodbridge, Royal Canadian Air Cadet Squadron. Superintendent Blair Steer, York Regional Police. Chief Anders of Amitas, Vaughan Fire and Rescue Service. York Region Paramedic Service. President Andrew Anthony, Vaughan Professional Firefighters Association. I now invite the following members of the community to lay their wreath. The Knights of Columbus. Waves of Changes for Autism. Vaughan Hockey Association. St. Padre Pio Catholic Women's League. Alpini Gruppo Vaughan. Sikh Community of Vaughan. Registered Nurses Association of Ontario. Weston Islamic Benevolence Society of Canada. Francesco Sorbara. Anne Marie. The Honorable Deb Schultz. I now invite His Worship Mayor Stephen Del Duca to deliver remarks.
Well, good morning, everyone. It is an incredible honor. In fact, I believe it's the greatest honor that I have serving as the mayor of this incredible community to provide brief remarks at our annual Remembrance Day ceremony. First, let me say it is greatly, greatly heartening to see such a fantastic turnout from people from all walks of life across our community to be here together as a community on this Tuesday morning to honor our veterans, those who served with great valor, those who never came home, those who did come home but were forever changed, and those who continue to serve our community and our country with great distinction. I do want to thank city staff for helping to organize, as they have now the last few years, this important ceremony. I do want to thank Warrant Officer Mohammed for his support and his incredible dedication. Of course, our Air Cadets, 283 Squadron here in the city of Vaughan for their incredible service. And it is, as every year, it is really wonderful to see all of the women and men here in various uniforms who serve our community. But as I mentioned a moment ago, today, November the 11th, each and every year, and now for decades, is the day, the one day, on which we particularly gather together from coast to coast to honor the women and men who gave us everything. Now, like all of you, I was listening closely, as we do every year, to In Flanders Fields, and hearing that poem and considering just for a moment what it must have been like for John McCrae as he wrote those poignant words that have echoed throughout the ages, shortly before he died in battle. To hear those words, and in particular the line, "To you from failing hands we throw, the torch be yours to hold it high," those two sentences have always struck me very deeply. When John McCrae wrote those words, there is no way that he could have known what his own fate would be, or what would have come in the aftermath of the First World War in which he fought, or in the aftermath of the Second World War, or Korea, or Afghanistan, or all of the peacekeeping initiatives that our incredibly brave veterans have fought in and have stood on guard for this country and for freedom and for democracy in each and every instance. He couldn't have known, but he wrote those words regardless, because he clearly felt it in such a compelling way. And looking back now, this year marking 80 years since the end of the Second World War, when most in our country, certainly of my generation and in future generations, simply don't really, in a first-hand way, know the horrors of war, which is a good thing that we don't. Thinking about what he meant and what those words convey to us in this moment, in this time, in this era. The torch be held by us, passed to us from failing hands. What does that mean? What is our obligation? What is our responsibility to John McCrae, to all of those who served, to those who continue to serve? I believe our obligation is first and foremost, to honor them and to express gratitude to them, to remember their sacrifice, to remember their service. Service and sacrifice are not often things that are considered of the moment. They're not often considered cool. In this era, when we have so much information coming at us from every different direction, it is so important on this day to pause and to think about those concepts of service and sacrifice, giving everything for a cause that is greater than us as individuals. This is what I believe that line in that particular poem means. Something that, as a message, I believe we should take with us and carry with us proudly. When you heard Padre just talk a moment ago, Padre Stacy talk a moment ago, every year we hear those statistics, and I hate to use the word statistics to describe the people who lost their lives, the people who were forever changed, the families they came home to who rallied to support the cause. But those numbers really and truly are shocking. Shocking. It is why it is so important for us to be together as a community year after year, to remind ourselves that the freedom we have here in Vaughan and across Canada, the democracy that we enjoy, the ability that we have to gather, to express ourselves, to say what we feel, did not come without a cost. The cost is difficult to imagine. The numbers are so high. It's why it's so important on this day, and I would say right around the year, but in particular on this day, in this month, on the 11th day of the 11th month of the 11th hour, that we do gather in community, that we do say thank you, that we remember freedom is not free, that we remember that we are required and obligated to those who gave us everything to continue to be vigilant and to stand on guard for the values that they bestowed upon us, the values that they taught us to follow. Again, I just want to say thank you so much. Year after year, this community shows up. You know about the sacrifice that our veterans have provided to us and given us. To our veterans, those who are here today, thank you for your incredible service. And in particular, to the younger people who are here today, it is good that you're here. It is good that you're learning. It is good that you're aware that your parents and grandparents are teaching you about the history of service that we have been blessed to have in this country and in this community. So I thank you all for being here today. And again, to those who lost their lives and gave us everything, lest we forget.
And now invite Michael Gelman, MP for Vaughan Woodbridge, to deliver remarks.
Good morning, service members, veterans, first responders, city officials, dignitaries, my fellow citizens. It's a true honor to stand here for the first time as the Member of Parliament for Vaughan Woodbridge. As the Mayor said a moment ago, this Remembrance Day holds really big significance in all of our lives, for we remember what really shaped the modern world, the sacrifice, what gave us the freedoms that we enjoy. For on this day, in 1918, the guns fell silent. 107 years removed from the Great War, we stand here in that same silence. In Woodbridge and across Canada, in cities, in schools, at cenotaphs, and under the shadow of the Woodbridge Tower, we bow our heads together. We wear our poppies. We remember the 26 men who walked these same streets that were killed in the First World War. We stand together imbued with the sacrifices of the many Canadians who bravely gave their lives to defend the freedom which we enjoy today. In the wars that followed, the Second World War, Korea, the Gulf War, Afghanistan, Canadians have always stood up and answered the call. The character of our nation is defined by bravery. Bravery that, time after time, has helped restore peace to a very fractured world. It is in this moment we remember all those who served in war and all those who continue to serve in missions around the world. We remember the unknown soldier who endured the horrors of war in pursuit of the brighter future which we reside in today. Friends, our freedom has never been free. It was earned through sacrifice, loss, and unwavering commitment. We must uphold it for the same enduring spirit that secured the rights and peace we cherish today. To all those gathered here, the youth of our community, and those who are guiding them, today we reflect not only to commemorate the lives and sacrifices of those who defend our freedom, but to affirm their efforts and to affirm them that they will guide our actions as we move forward. To our veterans, to their families, and to everyone who carries remembrance in their hearts, your courage and sacrifice will never be forgotten, lest we forget.
I now invite Melissa Lansman, MP for Thornhill, to deliver remarks.
Every November, our country and our community, particularly in Vaughan, stops for a very brief moment. It is the single most important moment for everyone who serves today in every uniform and for those who enjoy the sacrifices of those who serve today and those who have served in the past. And as the noise fades and the hustle of everyday dims across the country, all of us, young and old, connected to the Great War or not, remember. We remember the young men and women who left their quiet existence, one that we enjoy here, who traded comfort for courage. They carried flags into places that most of us will never know. that we can only imagine and hope that we never see again. They didn't fight for glory. They fought for people to live free. The freedom we know today to speak, to worship, to build a life is not by accident. It was earned on the beaches of Normandy, in the skies over Europe, in the cold of Korea, in the deserts of Afghanistan, and for every single Canadian, part of every single peacekeeping mission. It was paid by those who never came home, those who came home forever changed, and the families that carried on their memory when most of the world had moved on. Freedom isn't a gift that we keep, it's a duty that we have to uphold every single day, and it calls on us as citizens here in Vaughan and right across the country to be worthy of that freedom. In Parliament, in our communities, and in our homes, and with others. So today, as we heard the sound of the last post and the poppies fall, we remember their sacrifice and the strength, particularly today of our veterans and the young people watching. May we never take for granted the peace secured, and may we live as they fought, with purpose and with gratitude and for love of this country, lest we forget.
I now invite the Honourable Michael A. Tabolo, MPP for Vaughan Woodbridge, to deliver remarks.
Good morning. It is always an honor for me to attend this event, not just on behalf of the province, but also personally. My father was a veteran. He fought, and he was actually a prisoner of war for 3 years. So today is a day where I remember not just the sacrifices that were made by so many other men, but also the impact that it had on our family and the impact that it had on his life. And I always think back to the fact that remembering really is an important part of who we are. It defines us in the sense that it teaches us, and we get from the experiences that we've had and those of the people that have provided us with the freedoms that we enjoy today, the opportunity to say thank you for what has been done, thank you for what has continued to be done by those that continue to serve in uniform, including the people that are looking after the safety of our communities each and every day as first responders. You know, I personally had an experience last June in Kiev in Ukraine, where I tended to work with psychiatrists and psychologists and doctors that were looking after the wounded that were coming back from the front line. And I can tell you, when you see the horror, I don't think I can ever forget some of the people that I met, because they were beautiful individuals and human beings, but they've been devastated because of the carnage that comes with battle. And when you get an opportunity to see that firsthand, it reminds you that these individuals that put on the uniforms, that go out to protect us, to provide us with the safety and the freedoms that we have as a community, are giving it all and are giving us that freedom at a very, very high cost to them and to their families. Because part of the work that I was doing there is I got to spend time with many of the widows of individuals that had lost their lives to battle. And I got the chance to see many of the orphans that had been displaced to other areas and trying to work with them to bring meaning to their lives. So when we think of the battles and we think of the different aspects of war and what we're trying to protect, we have to remember the veterans, we have to remember the families and the devastation that it has on all communities. It's important to remember today to stop for not just this moment, but also remember each and every day the sacrifices that are being made to try to bring peace to this world. And hopefully, by remembering, we will learn to perhaps not be so engaged in wanting to do battle. Veterans have given their lives to provide us the freedoms we have today, lest we forget.
Please join me in welcoming Parade Sergeant Major and Warrant Officer Wally Mohammed CD to deliver his remarks.
send you all the bill later, okay? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of Vaughan. Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs, respected dignitaries, respected comrades, citizens of Vaughan, and most importantly, members on parade. Each year, on Remembrance Day, we come together. We come together to pause, reflect, and honor those who have served and continue to serve Canada at home and around the world in times of war, conflict, and peace. On this Remembrance Day, we honor the men and women who have given their lives in pursuit of peace, freedom, as we recognize the families and communities who have carried their legacy forward. Their extraordinary commitment, courage, determination, and most importantly, sacrifice. It is a word that we have all come to know, that those who served in uniform knows what it means to sacrifice. Past and present, their courage continues to inspire us all to serve with purpose, integrity, and gratitude. Their courage, commitment, and sacrifice will help shape the freedoms and values we uphold today. This year, we also commemorate the 110th anniversary of the poem in Flanders Field, the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Netherlands and the end of the Second World War, and the 25th anniversary of the tomb of the unknown soldier. Along with key other milestones we commemorated this year, we pay tribute to those who have served and those who continue to serve at home and overseas, generation of Canadian veterans. I thank you, we thank you for your courage, determination, and sacrifice on behalf of a grateful nation. My fellow Canadians, my fellow citizens of Vaughan, I thank you on behalf of those who have made the supreme sacrifice for freedom we enjoy, and to those who took the time today to pause on this Remembrance Day, lest we forget. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. I'm the last speaker for today, and I want to share something with you. I've asked this question, and I've asked what it means to me on Remembrance Day. Well, for me, Remembrance Day is every day. I always, and I will never forget those who served with me in parts around the world, and those who have lost their lives. I'll never forget them. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
I now welcome back to the podium Padre Mark Stacey to provide his blessing.
May God grant us the peace we strive for in our lives, giving harmony to communities, nations, and peoples. And the blessing of God Almighty be with you always. Amen.
Please stand now for the royal anthem, God Save the King.
Right! Right! Atten!
Honor, carry, color.
mark the end of the official Remembrance Day service. I now invite you to join the march off of the parade, followed by refreshments in the meeting room on the second floor of Woodbridge Pool and Memorial Arena. In addition, the Wallace House at 137 Woodbridge Avenue will be open on Remembrance Day, featuring displays of military uniforms, newspaper clippings, and photographs related to the First and Second World Wars. Visitors are invited to explore these meaningful exhibits as part of the day's commemoration. Thank you all for joining us today, and let us continue to remember those who served and sacrificed for the freedoms we cherish. Sergeant Major.
Parade, parade! Left turn and column out, parade, left! Turn!
Holy smoke. Our feet, folks. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Hi, how are you?